What did your parents say to you as a kid that still affects you today? My dad raised me alone after my mom died during childbirth. Everyone praised him, calling him brave, strong, a hero, but at home, he rarely spoke. I still remember clearly the evening I broke his favorite baseball trophy by accident. He stared at the shattered pieces scattered on the floor, his eyes filling with something dark and distant. "You're just like your mother," he whispered, his voice raw. I didn't know then if it was an insult or praise, but it haunted me. By high school, I worked relentlessly for his approval. Straight A's, student council president, captain of the soccer team. Every trophy, every medal, was an attempt to erase the words he'd said. Dad attended every ceremony but never smiled. Instead, he'd quietly nod, polite and distant, like he was watching someone else's child. Then senior year happened, and with it, Jake Riley. Star quarterback, rich, and effortlessly cruel. After I beat him for valedictorian, Jake cornered me in the parking lot. "Must suck," he sneered, leaning against his gleaming red convertible. "To know your dad secretly hates you for killing your mom." His friends laughed, the sound echoing like a gunshot. Rumors spread quickly, each one more twisted, each whisper louder. "You know her dad never forgave her. No wonder she's always trying so hard." I broke down, grades slipped, trophies disappeared, and silence filled our house again. Eventually, the principal called Dad into the office. I expected rage or worse, his cold disappointment. Instead, he came home quietly, sat next to me at the kitchen table, and spoke softly. "Tell me what's wrong," he said gently, his voice shaking slightly. I could barely speak through the tears. "Jake said you hate me because Mom died, that I ruined your life." Dad didn't speak for a long moment, his eyes filling with unshed tears. Then he stood abruptly and disappeared into his bedroom. When he returned, he was holding an old photograph, him, young and smiling, with my mom, pregnant and radiant. He handed it to me, his fingers trembling. "You were never my tragedy," he whispered fiercely. "You're the only reason I survived losing her." The next morning, Dad dressed sharply in his military uniform, medals shining, shoes polished meticulously. "Come with me," he said firmly. We walked straight into Principal Adams's office without knocking. Jake and his parents, powerful and intimidating, were already seated, smugly confident. "Mr. Miller," Principal Adams began, startled. "Enough," Dad cut him off sharply. He turned directly to Jake's father, a prominent lawyer, and placed the photo firmly on the table. "This is my wife, Emily. She died giving birth to our daughter. I've carried pain, but never hatred. If your son ever speaks to mine again, I'll make sure the only reputation ruined is yours." Jake's father paled instantly, his arrogance deflating. Jake stammered a forced apology, eyes fixed on the floor. But it was Dad's face I remember most. Calm, proud, strong. As we left, he placed a steady hand on my shoulder, leaning close to whisper, "Never let anyone else tell your story."